10. "Wake up!" croaked Wish into the Snowcats and Squeezejuice and Tiffenstorm in a strangled whisper. "Wake up now! We have to get out of here!" The wind began to blow again, a couple of breaths that brought the hot, rank smell of witch down into the room, a pungent whiff of poisoned rat and adder's tongue as chock-full as death as a dose from an apothecary. The Snowcats, lying half smothered in leaves, woke to that smell. As one, they opened up their sleepy eyes, and all of them knew instantly that they needed to be silent, like deers that scent a fox. Tiffenstorm opened her eyes. One, too, saw the glowing, pulsing feathers and turned as still as if stuffed. Bodkin tried the door, but Zara had locked it. "We're locked in," said Bodkin in appalled horror. "We can't get out of here," before fainting dead away with his fingers on the handle of the door. "Bodkin!" shrieked Wish. "Wake up now!" It's not very helpful, Bodkin. Bodkin woke up with a start, murmuring, "Where? What? How? Zara's room," panted the princess. "Wizard camp! We're being attacked by something really spooky." "What is it?" whispered Tiffenstorm, staring upwards and getting a good grasp of her thorn of a wand. "The sword! Oh, by the gods of the still and standard waters! We need the enchanted sword!" yelled Wish. Now you see, there are no accidents. There was a reason that the enchanted sword left Zara's hand at that precise, very inconvenient moment. Aha! For Zara, down below in the spelling competition. Let's face it, Wish needed the sword at that moment for rather more serious reasons than Zara did. Slice! With a great piercing, ripping slice that made Wish jump out of her skin and nearly die from the shock of it, and woke up Bodkin from his faint, for he was still hanging onto the handle of the door. The enchanted sword sliced up through the ceiling of the main hall of the spelling competition and through the spell of Zara's door. The sword rose up quivering, hanging in the air in the middle of Zara's room, pointing at the glossy surface of the spell above, exactly an arm's length away from Wish. All she had to do was reach out and take it. Oh, thank mistletoe and ivy and every single kind of standing water. "Once there were witches," breathed Wish, reading the message on the blade. "But I killed them." She reached out her hand. She took the sword. There was a high, piercing, unearthly shriek from the air above her as whatever it was dived. The undulating shape turned dark and very solid. There was a confused rush. Something of unbelievable force smashed into the invisible spell above. There was another shriek like a curse, and through the glass above Wish, 3 talons pierced through the spell. 3 great shocks of talons that were very, very real, long and yellow-green, razor-sharp and curved like swords. Wish screamed. Look, there they are going through. You see the spell there with the rain bouncing off it, and the talons of the witch are piercing through the spell. If it were not for that spell, she would have been dead indeed, for whatever it was had been held up by the spell and crashed into it when it dived. Probably didn't know it was there, you know. See through zigzagging lines, jigsawed across the spell like ice before it shattered. Wish thrust the sword upwards, and that extraordinary sword leapt in her hands and dragged her with it upwards, and there was another shriek as the iron of the sword sank through the spell into something soft, and whatever it was, the huge dark shadow above her shrieked again and was still. Oh, thank goodness. Wish hauled out the sword, and it came out with a sickening, squelching noise. "Please," begged Wish, "please let it be dead." There was silence for a moment. Perhaps that thing, whatever it was, really was dead. She'd sunk the sword into it pretty deep. All around, the Snowcats were roaring, and Bodkin was repeating, oh my goodness, in a horrified way. Wish could see the dull, dark shape slumped on the spell above them. It wasn't moving. "I've killed it," thought Wish, with terrible sadness. It's always sad to kill something, even if it's attacking you. "I've really killed it." Tiffenstorm gazed at the sword, her mouth open in horror. "Don't touch the sword," whispered the sprite. The end of the sword was covered in a strange milky green substance, and it appeared to be smoking. A single drop quivered on the end of it, and if in slow motion it fell down towards Wish's hand. But Squeezejuice rushed forward, squeaking, "Be careful, Wish, be careful!" And in his determination to guard the princess, I'd forgotten he was guarding Wish. He threw himself in between the drop of falling green and Wish's hand, and he let out a shriek as the green sizzled there, and the poor sprite shook his own hand to shake off the smoking green blood. Squeezejuice leapt in the air. He's so brave. Look at little Squeezejuice, getting in the way of witch blood so it doesn't land on Wish. leapt in the air, screaming and waving his hand in horror. Wish tried to catch him, to soothe him, to calm him down with screaming, don't touch, in a demented talk screech. More cracked lines appeared all over the surface of the spell above them, like lines on a frozen lake the moment before it breaks. Oh dear, you see, this is a bad moment. This moment here is going to resonate for the next 3 books, I'm telling you, after this one. Anyway, more cracked lines appeared all over the surface of the spell above them, like lines on a frozen lake the moment before it breaks. Get away from the bed, yelled Wish, and the snowcats and the sprites flung themselves to the edge of the room. In the nick of time, for a moment later, the cracked, broken spell burst, sending bits of spell raining all around the room, and the cold rainwater that had been lying on it came splashing down on the bed in a bucketing, icy rush. And the dark shape crashed down too, and took the bed down with it, down, burning a bright green hole in that floor and sinking downwards, ever downwards, so that Zara's room had a great hole in the centre of it, like a sinkhole. A sinkhole 7 feet deep, with the corpse of a witch at the bottom of it. I think it's dead, whispered Wish, shakily peering over the edge of the sinkhole. It's not moving anyway. Are you all right, Squeezejuice? I's not fine, whispered Squeezejuice, shaking his hand. I's not fine. This is bad magic, very bad magic. Even as he spoke, the green crept up his arm to his heart and his head, turning him stiff as a tree twig, and he dropped shaking and trembling like a stone and fell down rigid to the floor. It is as I said. Bad things have been happening in Zara's room. Very, very bad things. And a lot gonna happen in 15 minutes. Oh, and that's a little picture of dear little Squeezejuice. Just there. So brave, though, Squeezejuice. Just a little person, but he's so brave. I love that Squeezejuice. Now, we've got chapter 11 tomorrow, called Zara Gets More Than He Wished For. But I'm very pleased things turned out all right in that chapter. It didn't look good for a moment there. See you tomorrow.